So in today's video we are going to talk about how to graph linear inequalities. So we've talked about linear equations and inequalities with both 1 and 2 variables. So today I'm going to show you how to graph linear inequalities with 1 variable and linear inequalities with 2 variables. So let's begin. Okay, so the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be 2x minus 1 half is greater or equal than x plus 3/4. So I'm not going to go through the process of this exercise because I've got 2 videos covering the process of how to graph linear inequalities. So I'm going to go over this very quickly in order to get to the part that I want to focus on in this video. Okay, so the answer is x is greater or equal than 5/4. Now the way we're going to graph this is with a number line. Okay, problems that only have 1 variable are going to be graphed using a number line. Okay, that's something very important to keep in mind, especially in those exercises that they ask you to represent your answer in different ways. This is a very good way of doing that. Okay, so here we have 0, 1 and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here we have oh wait, crap. So here we have 1 of 5/4, 3/4, 2/4, 1/4. Okay, that is our number line. Okay, so now for exercise when we're working with number lines, what we want to do is that we select R, which in this case is 5/4. So 5/4. So x is less or equal than 5/4. So it means it's less. So we're going to circle this. Okay. Now what I want to do with this is that we use a non-colored circle for greater than or less than, and we use a colored circle for greater or equal or less or equal. Okay, so that's something that you always have to remember and when you're doing these type of exercises. So x is less or equal, so this will move down or backwards in the number line, and that will be the way of representing one linear inequalities with 1 variable. Okay, now we're going to move to the second type of exercises, which are going to be which is going to be a 2 variable linear inequalities. Okay, now so the second exercise that we will be doing is going to be x minus 3y is less than 2. Okay, I believe I covered this exercise in one of my past videos because it is a very good exercise to review. It's a very good exercise to look at because it contains like basically everything you need to know about linear inequalities. So now I'm going to show you how to graph it. Okay, so as we saw in the past video, the answer to this problem is going to be y. I forgot because that's we divide by negative, so it's y is greater than negative 2 minus x over 3. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to select values from x, we're going to choose any random number we can think of. Okay, so any random number that we can think of. Okay, so, and we're going to use that to find the values of y. Okay, so let's say 0, 2, and 4. Okay, that's it. So what you have to do is you have to substitute x into this over here, and you will find your values of y. So after you do that, you should get all of your values of y. You can do the process if you want, but I'm not going to go over the process because it's very simple and easy to understand, because it's just substitution. So this is negative 2/3. This is going to be 0, and this is going to be 2/3. Okay. So I paused the video over there for a second in order to make the table. Okay, so I don't take much time doing the table. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to put these pairs, we have to put them over here. We have to grab them. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we take the value in x, which is in the first one, for example, which is 0, and the value in y, which is negative 2/3. So we grab our first point there. We do the same thing with our second point, and we do the same thing with our third point, which is going to be around there. Okay, so, and then what we do is that we must connect our points. Okay, something really interesting happens when we're looking at how to graph linear inequalities. Okay, so there are two things. So number one, so either dotted or non-dotted. So we have either dotted or non-dotted line. So this, what is going to mean is it's going to be greater or less than. Okay, and when we have a full line, what it's going to mean is greater or equal than or less or equal than. Okay, that's the first thing. Now the second thing is to where it's pointing. So let's say in this case it's y is greater than 2 plus x. Let's say that's an example. Okay, so in this case, since y is greater than x, we would cover all of this up. Okay, we would cover all of this up. However, if instead of y being greater than, it will be less than, what we have is that we will have to color all of this part down. Okay, so those are the two things you must take into account. So since in this case, what we're now gonna, since in this case we have, wait, let me grab this for a second in order for you to, so okay, over here it will be y is greater and y is less than. Okay, now over there you can have a reference. So in this case, y we have over here. Okay, so y is greater than and over there. Okay, so now what we do Give me a second, I'm gonna grab this point a little bit more. Well, what we will do is that we're going to color. Okay, and now first we have to do the line. Since it's greater than instead of greater or equal than, what we know how to do is that we have to make this line a dotted line. Okay, so I'm going to erase some points. And now that I've erased some points, now we have a dotted line. Okay, now that we have this dotted line, what we can do is that now, let me see, does this, yeah, perfect. Okay, now since it's greater, since y is greater than a negative 2 minus x over 3, now we have to color all of these. I have to color all, now we color, oh sorry, now we color all of this part over here. Okay, wait, let me color it a bit better. Okay, okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's definitely a little bit better. Now I'm going to erase. This can only go like, this can go like until some point, let's say like here. Okay, that is our right line. Okay, I'll grab a, okay, that is going to be our, okay, so now that we have these, that will be our graphic representation of two of what, of linear inequalities with two variables. Okay, so now that we've seen this, my best recommendation to practice all of all of what we've seen today. So all of the topics we've seen in all of the videos, solving linear equations with two variables, inequalities, and all that. The best way to review them, or at least the fastest way, would be practicing on word problems with linear inequalities. Okay, that is going to be the best thing you can do. So let me go to the book and let's look over here. Okay, so these exercises over here, they are really good to practice, and they are really good to practice all of what we've seen. So pages 762 and 763, those are kind of like the best exercises to practice all of what we've seen. Not only how to graph linear inequalities, but also how to graph linear inequalities, but also how linear inequalities work, how linear equations into variables work, and how linear equations in general work. So those would be my recommendations. So that is the end of this first part of the study guide, and I hope you enjoyed. And it was useful for you. And so yeah, that will be it, and I'll see you next time.